Good morning. As you might have remembered, I quit, or not quit, but I delete, or no, I did not delete. Let me start over. What's the word? I logged out of my Instagram account, but I also deleted my YouTube Analytics Studio app from my phone. So in order not to kind of be too much involved into the numbers, but also into social media and more specifically doom scrolling. Logging out of Instagram was actually a really good idea. It was, I would say, I've been logged out for 2 or 3 months. And not having the YouTube Studio app on my phone was also really healthy for my mental health. Because, looking at the numbers, kind of obsessing about the view count and stuff like that, was obviously not good for me. Unfortunately, that also meant that I wasn't able to kind of reply to many comments. But this video is not about that, but more about doom scrolling on Instagram. Because while I utilized my laptop, my computer, to reply to DMs, for me, Instagram is still the best place to stay in contact with viewers. Unfortunately, on YouTube, there is, I'd wish there was a direct messaging option. They used to have that, but they took it away, which is a shame. And kind of communicating on YouTube comments does work, but sometimes it's really unreliable in terms of replying continuously on a comment or a question. Also, I noticed that sometimes I reply to a question and I don't get a reply back, because sometimes I kind of ask another question to make sure, okay, if I understand that question correctly, and I want to kind of inform the person as good as possible. So then I ask for some further information. But because that person does not reply, I assume that that person kind of missed that reply that I sent back, because the YouTube notifications sometimes can be a little bit messy. So Instagram always has been a good place for me to reply to direct messages. I did that from my laptop. So not having Instagram on my phone was a huge deal in my life, because I did not doom scroll at all. Also, I always mention this, I use retro gaming, or I try to have dedicated devices to kind of get myself away from the phone that always bombards me with notifications, right? So a few days ago, I was out and about and not at my phone, but I wanted to reply to a comment, but also check something, because I'm doing this. I'm in the jury of the German advertising. I want to say celebration, but it's prize. It's honoration or something, and I needed to check something on Instagram. So I logged back in, and I did not log out because I had then a DM going on, and I replied back and forth, and I noticed immediately that I went back to doom scrolling, and I was just looking, let's check a little bit, see what's going on Instagram, and I noticed that I was doom scrolling again right away. And this is something that is so, I knew this obviously, but just seeing it firsthand was like, holy crap. Instagram and this doom scrolling is so addictive. And just me being back for a couple of seconds in Instagram, because obviously you log in, you see your feed, and then you go to your DMs. So you are exposed to the feed right away. And I noticed I was doom scrolling right away. And also noticed that when I got into Instagram, I left it and I was like, wasn't I supposed to check for something else? And then was like, oh, a DM, I should have checked for a DM. And that was just such a such an eye-opener again. Again, this is something that I knew, but just seeing how addictive this is actually was mind-blowing to me, because I thought like, okay, I'm off this sauce, so to say. I'm just logging in to check my DMs, and then being right away sucked into doom scrolling, mindlessly just checking the feed, and that was so stupid. I was like, holy crap, this is insane how fast I gotten back into it. So I logged out right away. I'm actually really considering now deleting it completely from my phone and just sticking to my laptop to reply to DMs. The only downside is I cannot post from the computer, which is really, I understand why they do that. They want you to be on the phone, on the app. But yeah, if this is the only thing that kind of holds me off from deleting it, because sometimes, although I haven't done it in a while, I want to post something, or at least to do a story, especially now that I'm going to this German advertising prize, being a jury. That's a big deal for me, so I really want to post that on a story or something. So I cannot really delete it, but yeah, I'm heavily considering it, and I'm doing now an even bigger effort not to log into Instagram. They actually made it also really easy to log in, and they just know that people, I guess, do that and log out of Instagram to kind of prevent that. But yeah, I was kind of shocked how addictive this is. Yeah, if you are thinking about detoxing from social media, I can highly recommend to log out. Maybe also to delete it if you are not in the social media game. It has been really good the last few months not being on Instagram, and replacing mindlessly, passively consuming stupid content on Instagram, replacing that with being active on a retro gaming device. It has been really helpful for me, and to get away from the phone. Also, I listen to so many audiobooks. I'm currently listening to John Dice at the end, replacing my need of noise with audiobooks or listening to whole albums. I actually also am totally late to the party. I just started listening to the latest Linkin Park album from last year. Replace that instead of listening to YouTube videos or to podcasts, which I also noticed fueled my gear acquisition syndrome so much. I have not had the urge to buy a new phone. For example, I still rock the Samsung Fold 5. We are already at Fold 7, and the Fold 8 is on the horizon. I'm not looking for buying a new camera and stuff like that. So just not being on a podcast or on YouTube has kind of taking away this gear acquisition syndrome, and listening to music and listening to audiobooks has been, for the last few months, such a relief. And I can highly recommend it to kind of find dedicated items that can get you away from your phone. Again, as I always say, people will say something along the lines, oh, you can game on your phone. Oh, you don't need a dedicated camera because you have your phone. That's much better. And that is all true. But I notice whenever I'm gaming on the phone, I still have notification. Yes, you can switch them off, but it's much easier to have a device like the Anbernic with physical buttons and then not having notifications. My mind has been so much clearer. I can highly recommend to kind of try actively to get away from your phone as much as you can. But that's not to say don't get rid of your phone, because it's still one of my most important tools for communication, but also for work and stuff like that. It's just about those things that I don't want to do mindlessly or that fuel unneeded gear acquisition syndrome, if you know what I mean. All right, let me know in the comment section below. Have you ever considered getting away from social media? Let me know in the comment section below. And maybe check out my video from yesterday where I talked about Aladdin. Up here, YouTube thinks that you like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. That would be highly appreciated. That way we see each other in the next video. Thank you very much.